Hey YouTubers, I've learned a few things about surface cleaners when power washing my patio and sidewalk, and I've made some buying mistakes and learned some lessons. I hope I can share those with you and keep you from maybe making some of the same mistakes I made. Now this applies definitely if you have an electric pressure washer, and I think it applies equally if you have a gas pressure washer. As always, if anything you find in this video is helpful, please like and subscribe. It would really help me grow the channel. So I have an electric pressure washer. I much prefer the electric type for one main reason. If you have a gas-powered power washer, there's a bypass valve in the pump, in the high pressure pump. And when you're not using the power washer but you let the engine idle, that high pressure pump goes into bypass mode. Now if you read the manual and you read the fine print in your warranty, odds are your gas powered pressure washer is only designed to run up to 1 minute in bypass mode. If you're going to not use the pressure washer for more than a minute, you're supposed to shut the engine off. Most people don't know that. They let the thing run in bypass mode too long, it ruins the pump, and then they discover that that's not covered by warranty. That's why I prefer an electric pressure washer. You squeeze the trigger, the electric motor powers up the pump. When you release the trigger, the electric motor stops. There's no bypass mode on the high pressure pump, and there's nothing that wears out when you're not using it. So that's why I prefer the electric ones. So I hope that you find that helpful. As awesome as a power washer is, you would not want to use it with the standard wand to clean a large area like this patio. It would be extremely time consuming. You'd find yourself soaked because the water is going to go everywhere, and it would be very difficult to clean the surface evenly. You're going to end up with lots of streaks and marks and what have you in it. Now those little turbo nozzles that spin around at high RPM, and instead of covering a very narrow spot, they cover a wider circle. That's an improvement, but you're going to have the same problems. It's going to be messy, it's going to take you a long time, and it's not going to do a very even job. That's where these surface cleaners come in handy. These attach to the end of your high pressure nozzle, and underneath there are two small nozzles that are angled, and when the water comes out of these, it causes them to spin at a very high RPM. And so you take this and you slide it across the surface, and it leaves clean surface in its wake. It's a great idea. The problem is the ones you find in stock at Home Depot and other big box stores, the ones that fit electric power washers are cheaply made. This one I bought a couple of years ago, and I think I cleaned my sidewalk and the patio with it one time, and dirt and grit got into the bearing surfaces here. This is all just made out of brass and nylon parts, and the grit got in there and it prevented this from spinning like it should, and it made it just clean two little swirly stripes instead of cleaning a whole path underneath here because this wouldn't spin properly. I took it apart, I polished all the surfaces on the brass and nylon parts smooth, reassembled it. It works better, but it still didn't work very well after that initial use. So I got a few hours out of this, and then it kind of conked out. Well, a few weeks ago I went to Home Depot and I looked, and the only thing they had in stock was a Ryobi unit very similar to this, and it was $39.95, and I bought it. And I started trying to clean this patio, and I got about halfway through the patio. After about an hour and a half, it conked out, and I was really frustrated. And so I rinsed it clean, put it back in the box, and went back to Home Depot with my receipt, and I said, I want to buy something better. And all they had in stock was the Ryobi model RY31012, which sells for $39.95 and looks just like this, and it's junk. And so I went online and found out Ryobi makes a much better made cleaner. This is the RY31SC12. I think I've got that right. I'll double check it, and if I've got it wrong, I'll put the correction in the comments below. This is $59.95. For 20 bucks more, you get a much better built unit. I can tell you one thing, this weighs about double what this thing weighs and what the cheap Ryobi weighs. You'll also notice it has casters on the bottom, so it rolls around very smoothly and easily. Instead of this one, you just sort of drag it around on this little skirt. You can see the skirt here is solid and has no gaps in it, whereas this is just a bunch of little segmented pieces with gaps in it. The nozzles on this unit are brass, not plastic. This is plastic and very cheaply made. This appears to be a nylon material with reinforced fiberglass strands in it. The bearing surface is much heavier and more solid. Everything about this is better built than what you see on the $39.95 units. And so for 20 bucks more, don't be cheap. Order this online. It took about a week to show up at the Home Depot store. I don't know why they don't stock these. This is the way to go. This one rides on a little plastic brush skirt around the perimeter, and when you try and push this forward and backward, you can see what happens. And so you have to push down on it and kind of nudge it along. It's very difficult to move. Now when it's running, the pressure underneath does help make it a little bit smoother, but it's still difficult, and it really does wear your back out. Whereas this one just rolls along as easy as can be. I'm telling you, for only $20 difference, the difference in quality between these units is night and day. So don't waste $39.95 on the junk they have in store at Home Depot. If they don't have these in stock, order it. It's worth the 20 bucks difference. You will thank me later.